Hello, Randy, K7AGE, with part 5 of the ZZRX40 40-meter direct conversion receiver build. Okay, time to start building the enclosure without soldering until all the pieces are in place. Hold together with tape on the corners or with a few rubber bands around it, then solder all 4 edges and 4 corners. It says to break all the pieces apart. So let's go ahead and break these. You just bend them and they should snap. There it goes. And you want to be careful how you handle these because you don't want to be scratching up the red solder mask. Okay, so the next step is to sand or file these edges down. They're kind of sharp. Okay, so I filed down the edges, and it only took like maybe 3 to 6 very light passes with the file. When you are putting these pieces together, you want to make sure you have all the shiny corners together because this is where you're going to solder. This is the outside, and this is the inside. So I'm going to try and put this together now. Okay, so I don't need the top. I'm going to get that out of the way. And I've played with this a little bit on my own here before starting the camera. And you end up not having enough hands. Okay, so I have a bunch of the blue tape here cut. So I'm just going to start putting these together a little bit. And it's going to be a little sloppy when you first start. I'm going to add another piece of tape. So you get the idea. Just keep working at this as tight and square as you can. Just checking it. I just want to see what it looks like when I just put the top on it. It feels flush around all the edges. I think I'm ready to try and solder some of this. Okay, so I'm ready to give this a try. On my variable temperature iron, I've turned the temperature basically all the way up. You don't need to solder all these seams. You can if you want, but it's not needed. Try not to melt the camera. Get some solder on the iron here. And I was able to put this in my little vise. Oh, that flowed quickly. Yeah, that worked nice. A little solder in the 3 corners here. Here it flowed. And on this piece here. And it bridged across. So I think that's going to be okay. Solder. There, boom, it flowed. So I'm going to pause and take this out of the vise and take a look at it before I do any more soldering. Okay, I'm just going to check the edges here around the sides and the bottom. They all feel flush. Let's do this corner here. I'm doing it about 1/4 inch down. And I'm ready to do the last top corner. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to take the tape off now and just see how it all looks. If it looks good, I'll do some more soldering. That is really solid. So I'm just going to do a couple more tacks around the edges. Okay, so I've soldered in the corners, then 1 or 2 places in the center of all the joints. And it's really very, very strong. It appears to be very square. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is to place the board through the inside so that the connectors are sticking through, and go ahead and put the nuts on. So I have a lock washer and a nut for the BNC, and a little nut for the audio jack. And then I'm just going to use a wrench here and be very careful as I tighten the nut that I don't scratch the case. The red will scratch. It's a pair of needle nose, but be real careful not to scratch it. I'm going to step ahead here a couple pages. The variable frequency oscillator. So there's a trim cap here that you use to set the lower frequency range on the 40-meter band. Well, once the cover's on, you can't adjust that. So I'm going to connect this up, and I'm going to use my FT817 to receive the local oscillator so I can determine what frequency it's on. And we turn it on, and what they say to do is to turn the tuning control all the way counterclockwise and then adjust the capacitor for it to be at 7.0 megahertz. So, and I'm using a plastic tuning stick with just a small metal blade in there. Well, I got lucky there. It's at 6999. I think I'm just going to leave it there. The next thing I want you to do is just place the top cover, install the washers and nuts for the 2 pots. Now put the 4 corner screws in. And I have a nut driver that fits the potentiometer's nuts, so I can use that to tighten those. Put the knobs on. It's all done. See if it works. The volume. Now, this volume isn't in the audio stage. It's right across the basically antenna. So if you get a very strong signal, it may overload. You may have to turn it down. The tuning is very fast.
And that's where I got a computer sitting on a bottom. So anyway, that's in the shack here. Only what you can see. Wow, trouble there, son. I'll get you.
Happy birthday again, and we bought a train for just a little bit here, and then I gotta go make some dinner here. So we'll talk to you later. And hello to the other station out there, Bruce. I'm sorry I didn't get your call, but I can hear you really good too. So have a good evening, and I'll talk to you again. K6XW.
So tuning the receiver with this small knob requires very fine adjustments. The mod I'm going to do is replace it with this big old knob that I found. And now I'll have a much larger diameter that I can adjust.
UOU, Montana. You faded out towards the end.
There, OM, was it prior to the
USB fade, I would have given you about a 4x7, but the band is changing around a little bit. But often in the evening, I don't get real good conditions into Southern California. I'm going to turn it over to Ed and see how he's copying you. W8 EDW WB6 UOU.
So, this brings it to the end. I finished building the ZZRX40 40-meter direct conversion receiver kit, and it was a lot of fun. I know it was long, a lot of long videos, but I wanted to show the detail of all the steps to build this kit. It's a simple kit. There's not a lot of parts. It's fairly easy to build, and mine worked first time off. So the elegance of this receiver design is that it's very simple. 2 integrated circuits, no tuning, no coils to wind. This won't perform like an ICOM 7300. You're gonna have to be very sensitive with the tuning, and the larger knob really helps that. It's a small box, and this and a wire probably doesn't need much of a wire. You could go outside, and if you're out somewhere, plug it in and tune around and see what you can pick up. I think you'll be amazed. It seems to work very well. So that's all. It's Randy, K7AGE73, and I gotta think about some other videos to make. Thanks for watching.